All right, Panther fans, how the hell is everybody doing? So, I know this is a surprise for you. It's a surprise for me, but we've got some things we need to talk about. Now, before we get started, we're having a little bit of technical issues on our end. We don't know what it is. We can hear Stu just fine. But sometimes when Stu talks, apparently he doesn't move. He freezes.
Yeah.
Now, come on now. They're going to hit the back button. All right. So Stu, go ahead. We need to talk about some things. I'll let Stu take things from here. I think it's
Thank you, Eric. So, as a lot of you are aware, my mom has been ill for quite a while. After the Panther game on the 2nd, she was in the hospital, and then basically the doctor said there's nothing more we can do for her. I mean, she's 92 years old, blah, blah, blah. She's had a lot of medical issues. So basically, she's been bedridden for the last 6 months. And she passed last night. So for all of those people that have stayed in touch with me, consistently asking me how she was doing, you know who you are. I want to say thank you very much for your support and your understanding and kindness and all that. And for anybody else on the channel that has sent me well wishes, I really appreciate it. But Mom was probably the oldest diehard Panther fan around. She followed the team since day one, attended a lot of games, and even though she was in bed, whatnot, she was following the playoffs, and I had hoped that maybe we'd win a cup before she was gone. So here's like 2 pictures. She always had her Panther jersey. I was very fortunate that, after I left the Panthers, the company that I went to work for had a suite, great suite. And she really enjoyed her chicken wings. And the picture on the right is the bubble year where she was wearing her mask. But that was her seat. And she always had her blanket there. And I also want to thank the Panthers staff, the guest services staff, because they really had it down. We used to pull up to valet. There was always a wheelchair waiting for her. They'd wheel her in. We'd take the elevator right up to the suite. We'd wheel her right to the suite and then right to her seat. And funny story. I'll tell you one funny story. So we're playing Tampa in that 5th game where we won that game. I forget who scored the goal. I don't know if it was Lumberg or whatever. But anyway, Kucherov did one of his dives, and somebody tripped him. And this is a suite full of people. Some were like friends of the owner of my company that I didn't even know. And again, this is crazy. My mother's like, "You fucking refs suck." So that was my mom. So anyway, again, she rest in peace, and maybe they'll win a cup for her posthumously. So anyway,
so that's the thing, is that last year when she got ill, and as the Panthers were progressing through the playoffs, I thought for sure. I said they're going to do this for her, right? This is unfortunate, but it was one of those things you could kind of see it and be like, all right, I think this is happening here. And then it didn't. So, brother, I would say I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for your loss, but I also know how it goes when you're having a parent like that. It's sorry doesn't really cover it. It's because there's also that other part to it where it's like you're just glad they're not suffering anymore. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's the way I look at it. And I will tell everybody, she went very peacefully. No pain. I mean, she didn't have cancer. She did, but it wasn't, something that was like ravaging her body with pain and whatnot. She just she died of old age, I think. But she just, my 2 sisters were with us. My one sister lives in Richmond. She came in on Wednesday. So it's like, I think my mom waited for her. And then, we were all around her and whatnot. And she just looked around and closed her eyes and took her last breath. And, that's the way it's, from you're going to go, man. You want to go like that. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
but it's crazy, man. I mean, the last few years, it was such a bond between us with the Panthers.
right.
I mean, I used to go over there and watch the games with her. I mean, of course, she loved going to the games. And, like I said, putting on her Panther jersey. And, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people at the arena knew her, from Matt Caldwell to Randy Moeller. In fact, when she had her 90th birthday, we did a series of videos, tribute kind of videos, and Randy, who I love, did a video for her, and she got a big kick out of that. So
that's cool.
Anyway,
so did she give you shit like when you came over? Was she like, "Oh, look, it's the YouTube star"? Was she giving you?
You know what? I showed her a couple of videos. She loved the caricature thing that we did. What we have.
Yeah.
But we never really talked about it. She, she just said, if you have fun doing it, it's great. And
right,
I'm gonna miss her.
I got you. Yeah, no, I understand, brother. So, like you said, we'll just talk some hockey here to kind of
rocking my new jersey.
Yeah, I'm rocking.
This is gonna be my go-to jersey now.
Nice.
I wanted one, and I got one. And it's just Matthew Tkachuk.
Yep.
And by the way, I sent you a link. I don't know if I'll send it again, and maybe you could post it. But Matthew Tkachuk did a podcast earlier in the week.
Oh yeah, brother. I'm all over that. You don't listen to the podcast.
No. I know you mentioned something about him not being 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm going to correct you because he said I'm 100%.
He said I'm close to 100. I'm going by what George said. George's article quoted him as saying I'm close to 100%.
This was right at a Chucky's mouth.
Well, where did you read that?
I heard it on this podcast, so maybe you didn't listen to it.
I know I didn't listen to it.
It was the Cam and Stick podcast, Cam Neely.
Right. No, I know. I'm just saying what George said in his article was he said I'm close to 100%. So
we shall see.
That's what I was going by.
So we haven't had a chance, you and I, to talk about acquisitions.
Yeah.
The number one acquisition that sticks out of my mind is getting Kulikov back. Now all we need to do is get Gabranson back. But save that for another day. But I like that now. I listened to a podcast yesterday with Barkey, and Barkey said, when I first came to the league, Kulikov really helped him, obviously being Russian,
Right. Oh, yeah.
He helped him get, integrated into the NHL life, and obviously he helped him out with the language stuff, but always liked Kulikov. Glad he's back. And then Barkey said it's like he never left. It's, coincidence that Gudis leaves, so Cooley gets his number back, which is cool. So that one. Now, the other one that sticks in my mind is Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who, when he was with Arizona, I really thought he was a really good, mobile defenseman. I think the biggest problem for the Panthers coming up is we're lacking right-handed defensemen.
Yeah.
Because Ekman-Larsson's lefty. We got Gus, Kulikov, Carson's lefty, Kiersted's lefty.
I think the only righty is it Mahura or
no, Mahura's lefty.
Yeah, let me keep talking.
Ekblad and Montour.
That it? Well, I mean of the guys that were left.
Unless we pluck somebody from from rookie camp or whatever. It doesn't matter, we're going to play who we have and do the best with what we have.
Let's see. Because I know that's something that you pay attention to a lot. is the lefty righty.
Forsling, Larson, Nico Mikkola. I don't know if he's a righty.
Here we go. Yeah, left. Yeah,
Who's Mikkola? What is he?
I'm trying to of the people that are of the guys that are healthy and will be on the ice most likely to start this season. There are this is not accurate. the my apologies. The Panthers page, I don't know if they have everybody here. They don't have Nikola on the roster. There he is. No, they're all lefties.
Right.
They're all lefties. Everybody.
So
everybody left.
I don't know how much of a problem that's going to be. You know, I'm a big proponent of lefty-righty combinations.
Right. Yeah.
But we'll make the best of it.
Yep.
I don't think we're starting out as bad as some people think. Obviously, you know, losing Montour and his offensive, you know, contributions is really big.
Yeah.
You know, getting Ekblad back and hopefully, you know, he comes back 100% and stays healthy this season, which would be a first. I'm looking for him to come back and contribute. More importantly, I'm just looking him to play better defense. We certainly have been hard on the guy, but obviously us not knowing how badly hurt he was pretty much the latter part of the year, and the fact that he played with a broken foot and then the shoulder stuff is just incredible. Just shows you, man. You know, Gudis, Montour, Sam Bennett. I mean, Barkey didn't even mention, he said there were a few guys. So I'm wondering who the other guys were. Obviously, not having Luostarinen in the lineup, to me, was the biggest factor against Vegas. Yeah. I mean, we would just, by the time we got to the finals, we probably had fumes for gas. And obviously the injuries. And that's why we got dominated. I mean, we're a better team than what showed up in the finals. But
sure.
They just left it all out there in the first 3 rounds. Kind of sort of what happened in 96. And I said that to you on our wrap-up video.
Yeah.
You know, by the time the 96 team got to Colorado, they were shot.
Yep.
So
now
thing last thing. Same thing with Bob.
Right.
Right? Bob just got overworked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying, because I have a question, you're saying that you don't think it'll be as bad as some people think. What define that? What are you seeing? What are you hearing from other? I know what I've said, but listen to me. So.
Let's just look at potential line combos, and I'm thinking Barkov with Verhaeghe and Reinhart. And then I'm thinking Bennett, Chucky, and Luostarinen. I'm thinking Lundell, Lundberg, and this Evan Rodriguez guy, who I don't know much about, be honest with you. And I don't know if he's a lefty or a righty. And then for the fourth line, Lombard, Cousins, and either this Stenlund guy or Lorentz or Tarasenko. You know,
I'm trying to.
I don't think Mackie Samasevich, however you pronounce that.
Samoskovich.
Yeah, I don't think he's making the team straight up. I think eventually he'll come up at some point. But that's it. I mean, Reinhardt's obviously a righty. So, I mean, if that, quote unquote first line does some things, and then we got, Bennett, Kachuk, and Luostarinen, then we got top 6 looks pretty good. And then Lundell, the Lundell line's got to step up. Now, as far as the defense goes, speculating here that Forsling and Larson are going to be pairing number 1. And then this Mikkola and Kulikov will be pairing number 2. And then Mahura, I don't know. Is this the year Carlson gets his shot?
That's the big question.
I mean, I'm hoping. You know, they picked up Riley from Boston, and then Mike Benning, Casey Fitzgerald. I mean, I think Maurice liked this Casey Fitzgerald guy because he played in the playoffs, and Carlson didn't get a shot. I don't know what it is, but I think this is the year that Carlson should get a good look. And then, of course, we get to the goalies. We know what Bob can do. The big question mark is what Spencer Knight, how he comes back.
Right. Well, that's the one thing I'm going to talk about. I was looking for the graphic that I created, but I can't find it, so I'll just have to let it go. That's why, the video I made yesterday, I've been talking about that a lot on the podcast. I'm just trying to catch everybody up now. And to me, that's there's four players. I really talked about two, but there's really four that what one does is going to affect the other. And you got Rodriguez, you got Reinhart, you got Denisenko, and you got Luostarinen. Because if Reinhart can fit with Barkov, then you could put Rodriguez in the third line where he probably belongs. If Denisenko can play well enough to stay on the third line, then you could put Luostarinen next to Bennett where he probably belongs. But those two things have to happen for those other two things to have to happen. Otherwise, we've tried it now 2 years in a row. I suppose we might try it again with Reinhart up there with Barkov. I don't understand.
You and I are on the same page. We did not see the chemistry that should have been there. They've tried Reinhart with Barkov many times. So did they do the Bennett Reinhart Kachuk combo?
Well, what I wanted to do, my idea was for the beginning of the season was to top load the top six because I think we're going to need goals because the defense is going to be shaky. So my idea was Barkov with Kachuk and Verhaeghe, and then Bennett with Reinhart and Luostarinen.
I like that too.
That and just roll them. And
I like that
goals.
too. And you're right. It's going to be really important this year to have an offense like we did 2 years ago.
Right.
Because you're right. The defense is an unknown at this point. You got guys coming in, got to learn the system, got to learn to play with each other. I think Forsling has to step up offensively. I don't want to assume anything. I know Larson is probably the go-to guy to quarterback the power play, but I'd really like to see Forsling be that guy.
Well,
with Montour being out.
He has no choice. I mean, coach has no choice. It's got to be Larson and Forsling or Forsling and Larson. And I know you'll agree with this. If the power play is going good, when Ekblad comes back, keep him the hell away from
Absolutely.
the power. Because we've seen that so many times where he gets hurt, the power play does well while he's gone, and then when he comes back, all of a sudden the chemistry is shot.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. There's nothing that says Ekblad has to play top pair or top power play.
Right.
I don't, it's like, you're right. If the chemistry is good and they're producing, like again, if that Forsling and Ekman line, defense, top pair, whatever is working, leave it be. Leave it be.
Yeah. And that's the other question. What you talked about with Mahura, I have the same question because the year before, Carlson was the young guy that played with us and played well, and then he didn't even make the team. And then Mahura played. I have no problem with Mahura, but even with Ekblad and Montour out, there's only so many room for so many, so much room for so many guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
it should be a fun training camp, seeing guys fighting for positions.
Yeah, and I also wonder if he's going to run it the way he ran last year, where he beat the shit out of him at the beginning, or if he's going to back off a little bit and
You
not
know,
do. I mean, you know, coach just gave that interview. Says Stan Bennett was shown in a walking boot, so it's just like
but there was a video yesterday of him and Lundell skating around,
skating. Okay,
at the practice rink, and he looked
yeah,
fine to me.
yeah, okay, all right. Now
So
this time of year we can only the stuff changes on a daily basis. You know what I mean? And I've learned with Maurice, and I don't mean it like in a negative way, but I think he does it on purpose. I don't believe anything he says about anybody's injuries.
yeah,
I think he does it on purpose, man. I think he
well,
likes to see
Chucky
us.
Chucky said that Maurice has made him a much better player.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
um, listen, as far as the guys that we got rid of, I mean, we pretty much kind of said we need to get rid of this guy. I mean, losing Gudis, obviously, I was bummed, but it's hey, good for the guy to get a $4 or whatever $5 million
No,
contract
I
for
think it
four
was
years.
for. Um, I mean, I get it. I do get it, and you know, hopefully Mikula can do the job, and we assume that's the spot. And who knows anymore because what their intent was and what their plan was changed because I'm sure if everybody is healthy, we don't go out and get all of these new defensemen. You know what I mean? And even with, like I said, with Montour and Ekblad out, there's only so much room.
Right.
If you go Forsling, Larson, Kulikov, Mikula, you still, even if you keep Mahura on the roster now, you still got Carlson, Kierstead, Bailey. We've got depth, so that's good. And then whenever Ekblad and Montour come back, and Montour's the big one because, like you talked about, his offense.
I had
We're good.
70 points last year.
I know,
Crazy.
yeah.
For people that I'm gonna probably do my own after we are done. I'm gonna go on YouTube like I did with Lundell and Ekblad before he got drafted. This Mikula, whatever.
Mikula, yeah.
They're saying he's like a younger version of Gudis. So I guess I'll number one have to see for myself. But if anybody is out there that knows about this kid, just put it in the comments. And yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, Larson, I know what the guy can do,
Right.
but wouldn't it be nice to get a younger version of Gudis?
Well, yeah, and look,
stay back guy that just clears the net. And we still need to do that.
right.
We need
Right.
to cut down on offensive chances. And obviously get a quick lead in the game, and give Bob that cushion that he needs.
And
4 goals, Bob usually wins.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's the 30th anniversary. 30th year.
Right.
And I fully expect the Panthers to be in there when the time comes.
Well, it's interesting POV for me. This is a completely different. For all the years we sucked, when I said we sucked, people were like, "Yeah, we sucked." Then last year, like, we're going to win the cup, and everybody was like, "You're crazy," and then almost. And now I've been like, well, you know what? I'm certainly not predicting us to win the cup again.
You were saying we might miss the playoffs.
Right,
I don't think that's going to happen.
This will be the point is this will be the first year where I'm going to catch grief for. I'm literally catching grief for not saying they're going to win the cup now. And it's like, have you guys forgotten what team you root for? It's like, look, nobody wants them to win more than I. But I'm scarred. They decapitated me last year. I mean, during the playoffs, man, no matter what happened, I'm just like telling everybody and God they're going to win the cup. I don't care what any of you say. So I'm they fooled me once, and now I'm like, man, you son, I mean, look, bro, I bought in. Let's just be honest, okay? I was it was 2-0 Vegas at game 5, and it's obvious we're done. And I'm in there in the recap going, it's not 3-0. We still come back. We're still winning the cup, damn it. I still believe. So nobody can give me any grief for not believing.
So why don't we hold off on the predictions and
Yeah.
go with the flow and see what happens?
And that's what I said on the podcast, is that I'm not, and that's what I meant when I said I'm not going to take this so seriously this year, is that I'm just going to watch the games. How are we doing? Because what that did, it's going to be a long time before I recover from that, because I really believed that I could believe enough to drag them over the finish line. And like I said in the recap of game 5, they even had to go, because it was 2-0 Vegas after the first period. They even had to go and make it 2-1. We just flick me in the nuts one more time before the dam broke. So, yeah, no, I love my Panthers, but when they win the cup, it is most likely not going to be on a year where I predicted they won the cup. I think I'll put it that way. So, and I guess that's the way it'll have to be.
Obviously, we have to play good enough to be in the mix while Ekblad and Montour are out. Right. What would be nice is to start off the first 10 games with like an 8-2 record or a 7-3 record. Just something that, hey, we're not 1-9.
I have something for you there. Go
ahead.
So in one of the podcasts, I'm going over the schedule, and what I realized was during the time that Montour and Ekblad will be out, we only play Tampa once, and we don't play the Sabres at all. So we have an opportunity to play some lesser.
Do you have the schedule?
I'll get it up.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Hold on a second.
By the way, let me mention something else. Yeah. Now, year after year, the national television schedule comes out, and there's like 1 or 2 games.
Right.
And then, of course, with the Panthers winning, how many games did they end up putting on national TV? There's 7 games listed so far for the Panthers.
Yeah.
So I think, mainstream is now taking us seriously. Let me put my glasses on.
Well, okay. Things have changed when I'm getting people commenting on the videos that they're upset that I'm not predicting we're going to win the cup. I can't get over that. So can you see that?
Yeah, we start off in Minnesota and then go to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Then the Devils and then the Leafs.
Right. So we start off with 3 on the road.
Yep.
And
okay.
It's a generally decent,
all winnable games.
Right. And that's what we have here, is we have some winnable games in this first. They're not all, but I mean, Canucks, Sharks, Red Wings, the Blackhawks, Blue Jackets, Capitals. I mean, Blackhawks again. So one thing that is definitely our advantage is that beginning of the season, those first 10, 15 games when all the defensive pairs are learning how to play with each other, we have some opportunities to win some games that maybe we wouldn't if this was us playing the Lightning and the Sabres and everybody else.
Yeah, it's probably the first time that I can remember where we're not playing the Lightning, first game or whatever, or even they've had many years where we did a home and home. I like the fact that
the Lightning.
Our first home game is against Toronto.
December 27th. December 27th is the first time we played the Lightning.
Wow.
And we don't play the Sabres until I'm still going. Still waiting. Here we go. February 15th.
Wow.
So, and
And
those.
we play them 6 times.
Let me see. The Sabres we play once. Usually it's 4. Let's see. It's 1, 2.
There's 2.
Here we go. 3. That's
3.
it. Just the 3 times.
Wow. Oh yeah, they're in the.
We only played them
I thought
3
they were in our
times.
division. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm mentioning them, because I kind of feel like, other than the Leafs, that the Lightning and Sabres will be the 2 teams that will be competing against, most likely, for the top 3 in that division. Now there's what we do have. What we do have is in the second half of the season, after we get Ekblad and Montour back, like to your point about Spencer Knight, we've got it's either 3 or 4 road back-to-backs. And sometimes it's like, we played a crap team the first night and then the good team the second night, and sometimes it's reversed. But just like last year, towards the end of the season, we're backup goaltending, and our third goaltender obviously was important. We're going to need to know early and often if Spencer Knight is really ready to go or not, because it's going to be there's a lot of 3 and 4s.
Well, I remember the video that you did about what you thought should be the split of games.
Yeah.
And I agreed with you. I don't know whether you said it was 4 in a row or 5 in a row, and then no matter what,
right,
Marie switches to the other goalie.
Right.
Was it 4 or 5?
I think it was 5, but that's probably,
a
bit of a stretch.
Obviously depending on how they're playing, but I think that's perfect. As much as I'm a fan of going with the hot hand,
right?
You're right. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. 4 games, Bob's good.
Right.
5 games, borderline. 6 and 7, he's gassed.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And Knight needs to play.
That's the biggest
thing. And the big thing is, we have that other goalie. Forgot his name. You could tell me.
Stolars.
Yeah. Nothing says Knight's going to be the backup.
No. When Bill Zito was asked about it, he gave a real quick response. He was like, "I said he'd be back, but I didn't say where he'd be." So there's no guarantee.
Yeah. So he might be the guy in Charlotte.
Right.
To basically play every game. And again, he's 21, 22?
21, 22, yeah.
Okay. So look what happened with Jacob Markstrom when we gave up at him on 21. And then now he's like one of the top goalies. So, maturity. So I don't see a definite Spencer Knight as the backup this year.
Right.
I've heard good things about this other goalie.
Well, I'm not going to argue with the Panthers. They felt like he was an upgrade over Lyon, and that's why we got him, because he actually made less money than I guess we could have afforded Lyon had we wanted to keep him. We didn't lose him over money.
Right. But remember, you nailed it. Glove hand. They the Bruins, whatever, Marchand especially, and they after that, they knew where to shoot.
Yep.
So,
well, look, we got 11 days till camp starts on the 20th. And
crazy.
I mean, I don't want people to think it's just crazy. I have to explain this, but I don't want people to think that just because I'm not saying they're going to win the cup this year, that I'm not excited. I'm not supporting of the team and everything. They cheated on me, is what it is. Last year, I married them. They promised me in September they wouldn't cheat on me. And they almost did it. But then they did. I mean, do you know how many people I just told? It's just like, and I admit it. I was cocky about it. Like, I don't care. They're winning the cup. I don't care. Y'all can talk about all the stats and all of that crap. They're going to win the cup. And you can't really be honestly, not you, but you can't expect me to come back and be like, all right, they're going to win it this year. Because then when they don't win it again, now I'm a joke. You know what I mean?
Well, just remember, and Barkov said it on the podcast I heard yesterday, it was 13 points out in January.
Right.
And they really were not playing good until March. And that was the month pretty much we had every game at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was huge.
Yep.
The fact that we got in the way we got in, everybody's going to say we got lucky and whatnot. And if it wasn't for Pittsburgh losing, well, we put ourselves in the position to be there.
Right.
Winning all those games. And a number of those games, you know, we won in overtime or we came back. And
remember,
you know, so we deserve to be in the playoffs.
Right. Well, remember the first half of the year, you kept saying Jekyll and Hyde, Jekyll and Hyde. Well,
exactly.
While that on one end is a negative, it meant win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. We were keeping our head afloat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't any really long in fact, that was the longest losing streak of the year, was those 4 games after we worked ourselves all the way back into playoff position.
Yeah, when they lost those 4 games, we were like beside ourselves. But then they came back and won 7 out of 8 or whatever it was, the 7 in a row.
Yeah, it was.
We finally got that streak.
Yeah,
you know, who can forget that Toronto game? First, the comments by Kachuk's father,
right,
about us being soft, and then I think Maurice, because you know, you guys know they listen, and then Maurice on national TV went ballistic, and that woke them up.
Yep.
After that game, which we came back and won, we went on a tear. So that's why I get back to my comment about let's not fuck around and, you know, from day one, come out like a blitzkrieg and, you know, win the first 5 games or go 4-1 or whatever.
Right.
But come out strong and not have to be 13 points out and have to claw to get back in.
I do not want to repeat history, though, okay? Because 96, we did almost exactly what we did last year, with the exception of winning a game. And then we started the next season off with the best record in the NHL, and then Stu Barnes and Jason Wooleys for Chris Wells. So I'm okay with 3rd place. I don't want because I don't want the same thing to happen again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that I trust Zito, but what a crazy and look, it's going to be there was not a lot of extensions this offseason. Lusterreinen got his extension, right? So we're going into the season with a lot of guys on the last year of their contract, and that's it's
a good thing and a bad thing. But
it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Usually the players that are on the last year of their contracts, you know, they're playing for either the extension or they're playing for a contract with a new team.
Right.
So for those players, and I think Reinhardt's one of the guys.
Reinhardt, Forsling, Montour.
Yeah. So obviously we've talked about locking up Forsling and Montour, but Reinhardt is the guy to me this year that's really got to step up and score 30 goals. I'll say it.
Well, he did. You wouldn't believe this. Look, because we think about Sam Reinhart and we think, well, you know, he contributes and he started slow. I mean, he scored. Where is it? He scored 31 goals last year.
Okay.
He scored 31 goals.
So let's say
and he did it in like the last 60 games or whatever, the last 50 games, because it was like 1 goal in the first 13. And he is consistently his goals 23, 17, 25, 22, 22, 25, 33 and 31 with the Panthers. So he does things, he does it so quietly that you don't recognize. All of a sudden he's putting the puck in the back of the net, and he takes a lot of shots that he misses. So we kind of tend to focus on that, but then when he tips one in because he's in good position, it doesn't get the same fanfare. No, the guy that needs to actually put the puck in the net more right now is Barkov. We need. I mean,
I was going to say Forsling, but I agree
Well,
with you on the Barkov thing.
I mean, Forsling out of necessity, but Luosterainen even had more goals than Barkov last year.
And Barkov was hurt for a while.
Am I correct there? I
We
want to
need a
make sure.
year.
Hold on,
We
I want
need
to
a
make sure
year.
I'm correct there.
We need a year where Barkov does not get hurt.
I want to make sure I'm right there because that doesn't sound right. I think it's something I said on the podcast, but um, no,
Yeah,
that's not right.
it'd be
That's
nice
not
to
right.
see. It'd be nice to see Barkov get 40 goals.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
take that back. He had 23 goals. Luosterainen, he had 17 or 18. I don't know what I was thinking when I said that, but we need Barkov to score more than 23.
Absolutely.
We're going to need him to make up.
No, we need him to stay healthy. Yeah. I mean, he missed a bunch of games, but I'm sure he played hurt in a lot of games.
Sure. Yeah, well, who knows these days anymore? Jeez, these guys out there, it's like we're praising Ekblad in the playoffs, saying this is the best he's played all year, and he's got one arm and a broken foot.
Broken foot.
I mean, it just
that obviously would explain why he was slow as molasses.
Well, yeah, that poor guy, man. When he retires, geez, he needs to become a fishing boat captain so he doesn't have to walk a whole lot. You know what I mean?
I'm very optimistic. The big thing for me is the chemistry, especially on the defensive side. The guys that, of course you think, Larson's a first pair with Forsling, but who knows?
Well, who knows? It depends because it's going to come down to roles. You know what I mean? If we need Forsling to be more offensive, it might be better to put like Mikkola or Gudis with him and have that be the stay-at-home guy and Forsling be the offensive guy.
Well, that's why I'm hoping Maurice listens to me and he puts Forsling and Montour up as the first pair.
When Montour comes back.
When Montour comes back.
Well, Montour is supposed to come back first.
Right.
So we might get our wish there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind both of them being on the power play. So we don't go with 4 forwards. We go with those two because pretty much either one of them can quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
the other, we're mentioning the power play. We got to do better on the power play.
You got to be more consistent.
Yeah. There were, stretches where we looked unbelievable, and then there was other stretches where we looked abysmal.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's been that way no matter what the coach is, so it's got to be the players.
Right. Well, that's why I'm thinking, instead of the 4 forward formula, put Montour and Forsling. Obviously before Montour comes back, you got Larson and Forsling.
Yeah.
On they're 2 lefty shots, unfortunately, but
I
still like that Forsling when Ekblad was out, especially in the Tampa series. Montour and Forsling looked really comfortable, and the chemistry between them was really good.
Right.
So it might be a blow to Ekblad's ego to be second pair defenseman, but you know what? Nothing personal, Aaron. It's business.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Stu, once again, all our love and support, man.
Thanks, bro.
I know it's tough now, but I know that it'll get easier because that way you don't have when somebody you love is suffering, man, it's tough, and you never stop thinking, what can I do, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do.
So. Well, I want to thank you for doing this video today. I had asked Eric, let's do something because I love doing this, love the channel. In fact, while I'm there, hit subscribe. We need to get those subscribers back up this year. And just taking my mind off stuff, This is like the first time. I mean, obviously we've texted back and forth about it, but getting on and doing this and starting to focus. Now I can start getting excited and focus on the season because it's right here. 2 weeks are going to go by like that, and before we know it, training camp's going to happen, and I'm really anxious to see how all the puzzle pieces fit together. I'm obviously anxious to see how Spencer Knight comes back, and Bob, of course, can he get back to how he played in the first 3 series? Time will tell.
Yep. All right, everybody. Appreciate all the support. And Kyle and I will be live on Flying Fluffy Football tomorrow, streaming the Dolphin game at 4 o'clock and then streaming Giants Cowboys at night. So head on over there. Links to subscribe to that channel are in the description. The community posts are all over the place. Appreciate it, and we'll see you again later.